Here are 9 ways that you can actively fail at the $1 Million Body Method. So obviously I'm making this video because I want you to succeed. So I want you to try to avoid these missteps or mistakes that a lot of people have made. So here's 9 easy ways to fail at the $1 Million Body Method. Number 1, and I think this is the biggest one, is not batch prepping your protein. If you're making only a single serving of protein, whether that's chicken, fish, eggs, or whatever else you're making, then you're going to be cooking every single night. And while that's not the worst thing in the world, we need to have some way of getting fast meals in place. So batch prep your protein. That way, like on one night, you can do just chicken potatoes. The next night, you can take that chicken, you can turn it into chicken tacos. The next night, you can take that chicken, turn it into chicken fried rice. The next night, maybe you put it into a sandwich, you put it into your pasta. I don't know. But having those options available to you is going to make your life so much easier. And this is how you succeed, not just today, not just tomorrow, but forever. Number 2, not using walking to help with recovery. A lot of times we think we're going to be doing just so much. We're on the elliptical, we're running, we have to do we're going to biking. Walking is king. Walking is one of the best possible things you can do for your recovery, for fat burn, for resetting your body, your low back. So making sure that walking is something that you're doing at least 3 to 4 times per week, if not on a daily basis. If you could have just like your short workout, but also going on a walk, either after dinner or in the morning, something like that, that's going to help you tremendously. So use walking as your primary source of cardio instead of like doing HIIT or, trying to get to the gym and do elliptical or Stairmaster. Number 3, not sleeping enough. If you're not sleeping enough, you're not getting enough sleep, you're just never going to have success. We had a client who was doing all the right stuff. He even was tracking his food for a little bit. Couldn't get dialed in. And what he found is that he was only sleeping 4.5 hours a night. So once we brought that number up just a little bit, he started getting way better results without changing anything else. Sleeping is critical. Shoot for about 7 hours if you can get it. Tracking that with like an Oura Ring, a Whoop, or Apple Watch can also be great because it can help you with the metrics on that. Taking a short-term view is a great way to fail at this, because if you have a short-term view and you're thinking, hey, I'm in this for 30 days, I'm in this for 6 months, I'm in this for, just like a small amount of my time, then we never really develop the habits that we need to keep this as a lifestyle. So obviously the first, like phase 1, it's okay to be a little bit more hardcore, a little bit more rigid. But in phase 2, I want you to start thinking, how can I apply this to the rest of my life? How can I eat these meals on an ongoing basis? What do I need to do to shift to make sure that this is always available to me? So keeping that long-term view is going to help you succeed, and taking a short-term view is going to be a great way to fail. Maybe you don't even fail in the short term, but it's a great way to gain that weight back. 95% of people who lose weight, lose fat, gain it all back and then some for good measure. So don't be a statistic, be a badass. Number 5, how do you fail? Doing too much. A lot of people come into the program, and especially right off the bat, and this applies a lot to men who are hard-charging, type A, entrepreneur, business owner type people who are like, okay, if I can do one 20-minute workout, then 2 20-minute workouts must be twice as good. No, the program is written as it is for a reason. And even if sometimes you feel like, man, this is not enough, am I even working? Am I even burning fat here? Yes. And again, we're just trying to take this like one step at a time, because we could throw everything in it. We could cut your calories way down. You could be doing 2 workouts per day, HIIT classes, all this stuff. But then what happens when you hit a plateau? Do we pull more calories? Do we add more work? Let's throw in the minimum required amount of stimulus, whether that's workouts or nutrition, to get results. And then we can add on top of it. Don't go too much too soon. Okay. And if you want to do more, if you're like, man, this is not enough, back up to the walking, get after that. Okay. Number 6, this is kind of contrary to the number 5 a little bit, but not lifting heavy enough. When I start having you do those exercises, especially in phase 2 and phase, when I start looking at the Train Heroic app and beyond, what's going to happen is you're going to start seeing, oh man, like last week I did 50 pounds for 10 reps. So that means you need to lift 55 pounds for 10 reps this time for the next week, or 50 pounds for 11 or 12 reps. You need to be consistently pushing for progress. That's the difference between training and exercise. We need to be training. So if you want to change your body, if you want to look different, we need to lift a little bit heavier. So don't be afraid to get after that. And you don't need to go day 1, week 1, when I give you a brand new exercise, be like, okay, I guess we'll just beast mode it. No, but work up. Okay. Again, we're thinking about this long play, long game. Okay. So once you've been doing this for a little bit, you're in the app, you're going to see all your progress, and you're able to track what you've done. You'll be able to see those numbers gradually increasing. It's tremendous. But again, it requires that little bit of a long-term view. And the goal is always progressing, always lifting a little bit heavier. Number 7, not drinking enough water early can be hard if you get to the end of the day and you're like, oh, I've only had a quarter gallon. I need to drink 3 gallons of water at dinner. And then you're peeing all night and you're not sleeping and you're missing out on number 3. So try to get at least 32 ounces in the morning, first thing. And then if you can get about 3/4 of the gallon in before noon, so much the better. Number 8, not scheduling your workouts. If you're going to be like, hey, I guess I'll get it in whenever I can, that's a recipe for failure. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but long-term, you'll never stick with it if you don't have something scheduled and locked in, especially if you don't love this. If you don't love working out, then it's never going to be like the number one priority. You need to have that in your calendar. That needs to be a non-negotiable meeting with yourself. And you don't have to work out every single day for the rest of your life. If you're getting 3 or 4 times per week, that's awesome. That's fantastic. And then get some walks in on the other days. That's the best way to progress here and really get the results that you're looking for. But if you want to fail, don't schedule your workouts and then wonder why in 3 months you haven't been consistent. You go back to the gym and you hurt your shoulder because you haven't done the prerequisites leading up to it. So this is one of the top ways to fail. Don't schedule your workouts, miss them here and there, be inconsistent. Great way to not get results. And then number 9, not knowing what you're going to eat during the week. In phase 1, I give you a very specific, eat this food on Monday, eat this food on Tuesday. Phase 2, it gets a little bit more like, hey, kind of play with whatever foods that you like. Let's incorporate them. And you can follow along with like a similar nutrition plan. You can keep going with phase 1 for dinners, no problem. But at some point, you might get burnt out on like pork carnitas or baked potatoes or whatever else that is. And you're going to be like, when do I get to have pasta or pizza or whatever else? So if you can have those things planned out, you have them in your calendar, whether you write them on a sheet of paper, you have something up on the fridge where you can like be like, hey, on Mondays, we're going to do Greek bowls. On Tuesday, we're going to do takeout. On a Friday night, we're all doing pizza night. Even if it's having those things that are not necessarily like the healthiest, they're planned out. You know you're going to eat. You're never showing up to your fridge and being like, what's for dinner tonight? I guess we'll have old sandwiches again. That's not what we want to do. And I also don't want you to be taking the position where it's like so much effort because you're like, I guess I got home and now I have to cook a whole thing. And the only meat I have in there is a whole pot roast. So that's going to take me 4 hours to get through. You fail to plan, you plan to fail. Almost screwed that up. So make sure you know during the week what you're going to eat. And maybe that takes you another 30 minutes on Sunday to plan that out or to talk through it. I don't need you to meal prep everything and have it all in little Tupperware. That's annoying. It's not going that doesn't stick long term. But if you know what you have, if you've done your shopping and you've batch prepped that protein, it's going to make your life so much easier. So 9 ways to fail at the $1 Million Body Method. Don't do any of these. It's not good for you. It's not healthy. Hit me though if you have any questions. Hopefully this is very helpful for you and you can start seeing what are the commonalities of people who get results and people who do not.